In the last video, I talked all about comparing different variable values, and now in this video, I want to talk about garbage collection. And garbage collection is something that a lot of programming languages actually have built into them, which is great because it makes your life a lot easier. And all garbage collection does is it takes variables that you no longer are using and it removes them from the memory of your computer. Because let's say that you created a variable a, you set it to the value 1, and then we log out a. Okay, it prints out 1. Now let's say we come down here, create a variable b, we'll set it equal to 2, and we're going to log out b. Now we get 1 and then 2 being printed out. And let's say that we do this a bunch of times. We just, write this out a bunch of times all the way until we get to, for example, creating the variable z. Or we can say z, 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 z. Maybe we've done this millions of times or all the way up to like 6 z's in a row, which we're going to set equal to, a really large number. And then we're going to console.log out that big variable. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, imagine a bunch of other stuff in between, and then this really big number. Well, you can imagine if we do this, a million times, we're going to have a million different variables created. And each variable takes up space on your computer's memory. When your computer program is running, it creates these variables inside the memory of your computer, and it saves them to be used. For example, we need a to be able to log out a here, so it has that value a in memory saved so that we can print it out here. Same thing with b, and same thing with this big z name. What garbage collection does is it really neatly is able to determine what variables are currently being used and which ones are no longer being used, and it'll delete the old ones that are no longer used. Because as you can see here, once we log out a, we never use a again. Even if this program was a million lines long, we never use a again. So we can actually delete a from the memory of our computer after we print it out here. Same thing with b. We never use it after this line, and same thing with this big z variable. We never use it after this line. So the garbage collection, what it does is every once in a while, it'll go through and it'll check, do I need this variable a anymore? If not, boom, delete it, no longer takes up space in memory. Same thing with b, same thing with z. If it gets to a variable that's like, hey, I need this variable still, it'll keep it around until it's no longer needed. So it does all of the hard work behind the scenes, cleaning up your memory for you, making sure that you don't accidentally just fill up your computer's memory with variables that you no longer need. And the nice thing about this garbage collection is it actually happens while your program is running. So as it's going through your program, it's deleting the variables it doesn't need. Because what happens with your program is once our program gets all the way to the end and it's done executing and it no longer is needed to execute anymore, it'll delete every single variable when it's done running completely. So if we, for example, open up our console here, which is just control and the tilde key, and we run node script.js, hit enter, you're going to notice it prints everything out and then allows us to retype into our console. This means that our program has completely ended, and that means all the variables are deleted as soon as the program ends. But with garbage collection, what happens is as the program is running, it'll delete the variables it no longer needs on a certain interval, making sure to keep the memory as clean as possible, even as your program is running. Because like I said, if we created millions and millions of variables, eventually we're going to run out of space on our computer, and that would be very, very bad. So garbage collection helps us by cleaning up that memory for us. And that's really all garbage collection does. It's not something you ever have to think about. It's not something you ever have to worry about. It just does all the work behind the scenes for you, and you never have to worry about it. It's just nice to know that no matter how many variables you create, as long as they stop being useful, garbage collection will clean them up for you, and you don't have to worry about overly filling your computer with all of these useless variables. In the next video, I want to talk about something that doesn't really, relate to variables, but it's super important, and that is the idea of leaving comments inside of your code. So I can't wait to see you in that video.